Hey everybody, B Davis here. Time for another podcast, but I got to tell you, man, it's very hard to sit here today and talk with you today. Um, there's been some things that have gone on that are just they're just hard, man. They're just hard. When I think about this economy and where we are in America right now, and to think that there are fired football coaches out there just not making it, they're struggling. Um, it's tough. James Franklin, Billy Napier, Mike Gundy, Sam Pittman. These are good men. Good men. Deshaun Foster, um, Brent Pry. Don't really know who that is, but I'm sure he's a good guy. Trent Bray, another far flung coach that I'm sure was making it well. Trent Dilfer, who by all accounts was kind of a bad guy, but probably a good football coach. But now when you add on Brian Kelly, when you add him to the list of the unemployed football coaches out there, it's tough. It's tough. I just don't know how these guys can do it every day. And then I see that James Franklin was paid 48 million to go away. Billy Napier was paid 21.7 million to go away. Mike Gundy got 15 million, and he kind of probably maybe didn't even deserve it, but I guess he did. But man, and then I saw that BK is going to get $54 million not to coach the LSU Tigers. Whew, man, again in this economy, that $54 million that might buy you a couple of steaks. I don't know if you saw this, but prices of meat are at the highest they've been ever in recorded history. So it's probably going to be ground round chuck for BK for a little while, but still $54 million. I mean, um, all kidding aside, uh, Scott Woodward, by the way, Scott Woodward, LSU athletic director, if you still have a job at the end of this day or this week, I'll mourn for you as well because you gave out two of the worst contracts in college athletics history to Jimbo Fisher at A&M and then to Brian Kelly at LSU. Well over $130 million in buyouts to make those two coaches go away. $130 million. Jimbo got $77 million to go away, and now BK with 54 million. That's salute to you, sir. That is just amazing that you still have a job as the LSU athletic director, although I don't think that'll be for long, especially when, as Ross Dellinger reported, that the Louisiana governor is involved in negotiating BK's exit, along with the total shakeup there in Baton Rouge. Also, Monday morning, we learned that offensive LSU play caller Joe Sloan, he was also let go. And if you're an LSU Tiger, man, you're probably pretty excited today because you were very disgruntled about how the season had been going, and you definitely didn't like the way A&M took over Death Valley Saturday night and just flat out curb stomped the Tigers. I mean, the Marcel Reed KC Concepcion show is amazing. Aggies are going to keep rolling. We're going to write about that on the Substack here this week and talk about that probably in the podcast later on in the week. But look, right now I just kind of want to stay focused on these coaching salaries because every single time that we hear about the death of college athletics and NIL is going to be what ruins college athletics, I just look at these coaching salaries and I know everyone's full of it, right? They're full of it, right? Because college officials, administrators, athletic directors, whoever you want to name who's in control, they can go back to the donors and say, hey, listen, man, what do you want to do? I want this guy out. Okay, I need you to write me a check. Boom, it's done. Okay. Here's the thing that people don't understand about what people really need to understand about college athletics. My man Del Conte, Texas athletic director Chris Del Conte, he says it best. Okay. We are in an emotional business. It's operating within an emotional business. And that's what this is. Make no mistake. College athletics is an emotional business, okay? So when you see these coaches and everybody getting these big time things, it's because there are some boosters out there who feel like we have to have this guy at whatever cost. Okay. Agents know this and they get these schools over a barrel, Jimmy Sexton, and talk about, hey, you want my guy so bad, it's going to cost you, X amount of money. Right. And the schools pay it because they have donors who will pay it because that's how bad they want to win. Right. Now let's talk about agents for a second. Let's go back to what happened Saturday morning, right? Just before the Texas game, Texas Mississippi State, a report in the Athletic. I don't even want to call it a report because it wasn't a report as much as it was a throwaway line at the bottom of an NFL column, an NFL insider column, where the NFL senior reporter, she's very good. She has a great reputation, sticks it at the bottom of her column, which is all about the Falcons and all these other things, right? It was not a column about Steve Sarkisian. I want to be very clear about that. Where the Athletic wrote that she was told that Steve Sarkisian's agents have made it known to certain NFL personnel that Sark would be open to listening to overtures from the league, specifically the Tennessee Titans, right? Within probably 2 hours, Steve Sarkisian had a denial out there via his reps from CAA. And, Jimmy Sexton, you have Jimmy Sexton with an on the record statement denying that report, calling it, totally false and, bad reporting. Sark goes off in a post-game press conference about how he couldn't believe that the media picked something up like that and ran with it. Just couldn't believe it, right? As if he has no idea how things work in this ecosystem we have now called college athletics. Couldn't believe it, right? But I will say is that stuff like that doesn't get out there by happenstance, right? It just doesn't, right? Is it very possible that Steve Sarkisian's agent, Jimmy Sexton, was kicking the tires and doing Jimmy Sexton things? Absolutely, right? Is it possible that he did this without Sark's knowledge or consent? 100% absolutely, right? But is it the agent's job to continuously monitor for things that are out there, things that might help his client, things that might help drive up the value of his client? Absolutely. So, in many ways, I don't think you should I don't think you should fault Jimmy Sexton or anyone at CAA for doing these things. Don't hate the player, hate the game, because that's what the game is right now. Driving up the value for your clients, trying to get your guy a payday. So if you're an agent, in turn, you get a payday, right? But here's the thing I keep coming back to. By the way, Steve Sarkisian does not deserve a raise. He does not deserve extension. He just got 2 raises for back-to-back CFP appearances. He hasn't done anything this season that warrants a raise, and he's not going to get one. Right? Let's just call it what it is. Kevin Eltife, the chairman of the Texas Board of Regents, is a smart man, and there's no reason to overpay and bid against yourself. Sark's not going anywhere right now unless he chooses out of the blue to go somewhere. Look, I think what we have reached this inflection point in college football where all these buyouts are really going to change the modus operandi of how ADs think. If I am an athletic director and a college president and a chairman of the board of regents right now, and all I know is that I've got to cover $20.5 million in revenue share money that's going to go to my athletes, and I need more donors to pay for NIL, I'm going to go to the donors and say, hey, listen, would you rather pay for a big time coach? Would you rather pay for a big time roster? Because let me tell you something, there are a lot of fantastic, fantastic coaches out there who you don't have to pay $10 million to, and they'll do a damn good job for you and coach up your team. If I'm LSU, I call Arizona State and I make Kenny Dillingham tell me no. Right? That's a name that's not going to be at the top of a lot of people's lists, and it's going to be hard for him to leave his alma mater. I get it, but you call really good coaches who are making fantastic salad out of chicken S, and you make them say no. And here's what you do: you lay out, you give them a decent base salary, $6-7 million, and you make an incentive laden contract that's based on number of wins, bowl eligibility, championship game appearance, CFP, and you lay it out there to where it's like, hey, coach, we're not going to pay you a giant amount up front, but if you have a great season and you do what we think you can do, man, we are going to break the bank in a way that we're going to jam you with so much money you're not going to believe it, right? But in return, until that happens, we're going to pour money into NIL. I bet you money, money. I bet you anything. If you went and asked a college football coach, hey, listen, would you rather have $2 million in your salary or $2 million in your NIL, $2 million more in your NIL account? I will bet the farm they'll take NIL money every day of the week right now, because college coaches at their core, they want to stay college coaches. Look, I make fun of BK's buyout and I make fun of Jimbo's buyout and James Franklin's buyout. But look, these guys are coaches. They want to do what they love. They want to Coaching is their passion. There's no question about that. They are simply taking advantage of the system that is afforded to them, right? Good for them, right? But at the end of the day, these guys want to coach. James Franklin made that clear by going on College Game Day practically immediately after getting fired at Penn State, right? These guys want to coach, okay? They don't want to sit at home and they don't want to go fishing all the time. Even Jimbo Fisher's tired of fishing. Him telling Ross Dellinger about, hey, he's basically ready to get back in because Jimbo sees the carousel that's starting to happen. This is going to be one of the most dynamic coaching carousels we've had in a very, very long time. Jimbo wants back in, right? Oh, and by the way, no one has to offset his money. He gets $77 million from A&M whether he coaches or not. Way to go, Jimbo Fisher. Way to go, Scott Woodward. Terrible contract. But anyway, that's it. And so that's the main thing. I want an AD to put together a smart, efficient package. Go get Kenny Dillingham. Go get Jeff Traylor out of UTSA. It's time Jeff Traylor gets the call up, right? You put together a decent base package with an incentive heavy contract, and I think you were going to get a coaching experience that is bar none, because these guys are young and hungry. They want to prove it. And I think schools are going to wake up to the fact that you can't just simply pour a bazillion dollars into the head coach's office when you should be pouring that money into NIL. So there you go. Texas, Arch Manning has a concussion, according to a source that talked to me on Sunday. So Arch is probably in the concussion protocol. We'll see if he plays against Vanderbilt. A&M has an off week after rolling through Death Valley and ending the BK experience. Good for them. Aggies will be back in action next week with their final of their 3-game road trip at Missouri. Then they'll be home against South Carolina, which should be a dynamite environment at Kyle Field. Texas Tech news. Tech blows out Oklahoma State, which we all knew they would, but really, really, really bad news. Quarterback Will Hammond, redshirt freshman, who they think is the quarterback of the future, suffered a torn ACL, out for the year. Baron Morton already kind of a little bit on a sketchy wheel with a right leg injury, I believe it is. We'll see. Not good for the Red Raiders as they plow forward towards the Big 12 championship. Anyway, lots of news happening, but listen, pour one out. Pour one out for BK, the James Franklin, Billy Napiers of the world. It's a tough day to be a fired football coach. But once again, it proves the best job in America is a fired football coach. I'm B. Davis. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.